Hi, my name is Ben Thompson. I'm an audiologist and tinnitus specialist in California. Creating Pure Tinnitus has been a fulfilling process where I've learned a lot, and I want to share about how it all started for me. I was a doctor of audiology resident at UCSF Medical Center in San Francisco. When I was working there, I was learning the best practices to diagnose and treat hearing loss and tinnitus. It was fulfilling work, and I met a lot of different people, and I learned a lot. But while I was there, I had this feeling that the typical clinical job, it just wasn't for me. And that's when I started to learn about how I could serve my hearing loss and tinnitus patients via the internet. At first, I didn't know where to start, but I slowly learned about telehealth. The research showed that the quality of service was the same, whether the appointment was done via telehealth video or in person. Still, I didn't see a direct way for me to do this as an audiologist. Then something pretty amazing happened. In my doctorate program in San Francisco, I learned about tinnitus treatment, tinnitus therapy, and how specifically there's an opportunity for the audiologist to be hands-on, involved, and the most qualified to guide a patient through the whole tinnitus journey. I was fortunate that I went to an audiology program that had some of the most immersive tinnitus coursework available. And I must say that I really loved it from the beginning because I was able to connect on a psychological level with my patients in a way that the typical audiologist doesn't get to do. And I particularly loved the tinnitus therapy work because it involved looking at our psychological reaction to situations and coming at improving our symptom from a more holistic perspective that includes the mind and the body. So when I was at my program at the UCSF residency, it was tough. I was learning the best practices for tinnitus and hearing loss treatment, but it pushed me to my limits. It stretched my ability. I learned a lot through that process. I was excited because I was working at what I believe is the best premier tinnitus management center in Northern California. I was working with incredible mentors at that residency, and we were learning the best evidence-based management and treatment techniques for tinnitus. And one day I had a patient come to see me for tinnitus therapy. I learned that they were feeling angry, they were feeling stressed, and they were feeling overwhelmed with how exactly to manage their tinnitus. They weren't sleeping well, their energy levels were really low, and they constantly found themselves stuck in negative thinking patterns about their tinnitus. My patient explained that in their hometown, they saw their primary doctor and an ear, nose, throat doctor, and both of them said basically, okay, you have tinnitus, and there's no medical cure or treatment for your tinnitus, so you just have to learn how to live with it. My patient was in despair, and they went on the internet because they knew there must be another way, there must be something they can do about how exactly to learn how to live with it or potentially improve it. There must be some other way. They eventually found the treatment center that I was working at in San Francisco, and that patient scheduled an appointment to see me. Now, the fascinating thing here is that this patient drove 4 hours from the mountains in California all the way to the coast in San Francisco. So I learned that my patient was in a pretty dark place with their tinnitus. They weren't sleeping well, their concentration suffered, and they had a hard time managing all the stress going on. They weren't doing the things that they loved to do previously. They were feeling overwhelmed, and that it was hard to imagine their life getting back to normal. And that's common to approach this first appointment with those feelings. At the time, I took this detailed history and I recommended specific management techniques for the tinnitus using the sound, using our psychology, using different mind-body practices, all of this being the holistic treatment of tinnitus. And the patient was thankful. They felt some relief. They had some clarity and guidance about how to move forward. The patient left that appointment thankful, and they went on their way home to practice these techniques and to continue the progress that we had started together. At that time, I realized something that would really change my life forever, that My patients are willing to drive 4 hours to see me for tinnitus therapy. At that moment, I realized that my passion and skill for providing tinnitus therapy was the best way to use telehealth as an audiologist. So I could combine my passion, my favorite part of being an audiologist, with the internet and my understanding that this was going to be a way to serve many more people than I could being in one geographic location. After a few years of research and planning, puretinnitus.com was born, and now I offer 2 services: an online group coaching program, which is a great way to start and learn some of these management techniques in a group setting through Zoom video sessions. I also provide personal one-on-one tinnitus therapy, where I'm taking my experience from the hospital setting in San Francisco and bringing it to anyone who can sign on to a Zoom video session to receive the best practices of tinnitus care. Thank you so much for making it to my website. It's great to meet you. If you would like to get in contact with me, please do. If you would like to sign up for one of the programs, please let me know and we can make sure that happens. Thank you again, and enjoy exploring puretinnitus.com.